Trey Thompson chose Iowa over the weekend. We have another video just breaking down the general decision of that, the idea of reclassifying Iowa, pulling a fast one on programs like Purdue and Kansas and UConn, all who were interested in Trey Thompson. You should go watch that because we give our full thoughts on whether or not we think it will work and what it means. But there is a second side of this outcome that is very unique that I think is also worthy of a discussion on our channel, and that's what this means for Purdue. The fact is, Trey Thompson was Purdue's priority target in the class of 2026. They will tell you that themselves. They had put more time and effort and resources into the recruitment of Trey Thompson than I think any other program in the country. And when Matt Painter does that, it very rarely doesn't work out. And if it doesn't work out, usually it's one of those ones you can understand why, or maybe you can see the writing on the wall a little bit with. The story here is not that. The story here is that Trey Thompson and Ben McCollum and Iowa really kind of pulled the rug out from under everybody that wanted Trey Thompson, but more specifically Matt Painter and Purdue. This idea of reclassifying was very new. This was not something that was ever on the table or even discussed. Apparently, many of the things Trey Thompson had said were his priorities, in the end, were not his priorities. And as Brian Newbert from goldenblack.com tweeted, he quote tweeted Trey Thompson's announcement on choosing Iowa and said, quote, "The wildest, most brutal recruiting turn Purdue has been on the wrong end of in my 20-some years covering this stuff. Just stunning." So that's how Purdue feels about Trey Thompson choosing a different Big Ten school at the expense of Purdue. This sort of went viral because I will say, from my read on this, I think there's quite a few Purdue fans who are like, what do you mean? This isn't that big of a deal. And then there's some Purdue fans who are like, hell yeah, you're right. We got slighted here. What the hell? So, look, you lose a recruit, especially one you've prioritized a lot. Obviously, that stings and it's not good. But I don't know. Is this like a sizable moment in Purdue recruiting? Is this something bigger than just losing a four-star target?
I mean, look, he. I think that looking forward to what next year's Purdue team would have been, right? I think there would have been a clear spot for Trey Thompson to probably come in and play right away. Like maybe you pair him next to a Daniel Jacobson or anyone else that's coming back, whether it be like a Riley Burgess or something like that. I don't really know, but um, I don't know. Like for some reason, calling this that describing this as that just doesn't feel as stunning to me because I think it's kind of obvious that Trey Thompson has an opportunity to play right away and reclass to Iowa, and I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb here and say that reclassing was not an option for this year's Purdue team. They're at their max for roster position, so I don't know. There's nothing you can really do if you are Purdue, which doesn't like give me like the most wild, shocking thing ever. Also, like I'm a Trey Thompson guy. It's Trey Thompson. I would like reserve this for, we lost this top 15 recruit in state that grew up in West Lafayette that we were in for our whole life, and then he chose to go somewhere else. Like that would be like, oh my God, what happened? Or Gene Katie's grandson like spited them or something. Not like Trey Thompson, you know?
Yeah, I think you led with the important part for me. I have a lot of thoughts on the idea of this being like super
I'm
shocking.
also a Trey Thompson guy. Like I like him.
Yeah,
Like I
you
do.
are. You are.
I do, but it's just like it's pretty obvious to me in this situation that he is going to Iowa because he wanted to reclass. Iowa gave him the opportunity to do so. That's really what it is.
Sure. We talked through the reclassification decision. I think reclassifying is a much more serious option for guys in Trey Thompson's position now because of the portal, right? You can go somewhere you're going to play right away and then hopefully get a bigger offer from a different school a year later. Doesn't sound like that's going to be on the table at Purdue. Once you slight Matt Painter, I don't think his arms are open to you anymore, and that's totally fine. But I digress. I have a lot of thoughts on the idea of this being super shocking. I'm glad you led with my primary point on this. This is a four-star recruit in Trey Thompson who is currently ranked 119th in the country in the class of 2026 per the 24/7 composite. Like I just on its own, even if you are the biggest believer of Trey Thompson's game and you think this guy is a can't miss prospect who will be a 4-year awesome college player or even a pro, there are much better, more impactful recruits that your coach is after right now in the class, right? Like, and I get maybe you felt you watered the flower early. You put the work in. You have the roots of this recruitment, but like just losing a guy that is ranked 119th in this class when you're trying to get Colbin Landrew doesn't sting all that much for me. And maybe you don't believe you're going to get Colbin Landrew, but there's other guys. You're Purdue. You're one of the premier programs in the sport now. Like you should not be losing sleep over losing the 119th rated recruit in the country. And I think a lot of Purdue fans honestly feel this way and share this reaction of like, yeah, this sucks, but it's Trey Thompson. Like we're going to be okay. Second point, like just immediate reaction to the way this was framed. Aren't we 12 months removed from the Cannon catching saga? You're telling me Trey Thompson choosing a different school is more shocking, more wild, more brutal of a recruiting turn than Cannon Catchings leaving after the rosters were set? Like, I just the nature of that announcement seems so different than this one, right? Like, I guess if you maybe Newbert, he was way more into the coverage of this than we were, obviously. So I'm not. I trust him. I think his reporting is fantastic. Maybe Newbert felt that he was a done deal to Purdue. And if that's your read on the situation, then I can understand why you would think the idea of like this guy's priorities changing is shocking. But like, man, my read of the situation, which is coming from the On3 reporting, Tipton and all those guys, the national people, has been that Trey Thompson was going to drag his recruitment out because he was blown away by Kansas and UConn offers, right? The last time we heard from Trey Thompson publicly, it did not sound like he was imminently committing to Purdue. That's been the national level writing on the wall has been like, this recruitment's getting weird. Purdue felt like they were doing great, but this one's getting weird. So like, that's why it's just like, how can you be shocked by the recruitment that seemed to be trending into like a weird direction, ultimately making a weird decision? Like, yeah, it didn't work out that it was Purdue's favor, whatever, but like, to me, the catchings thing a year ago was just a whole nother level off the charts level of like, wow, that was brutal than losing a 4-star recruit who was already publicly saying he was not going to commit anytime soon as Blue Bloods came swooping in, you know? This video is brought to you by NBA 2KLab.com. 2K Lab worked with us last summer as well. They're one of our favorite entities in all of sports gaming. We want to show you their college basketball stadium locator challenge game. And I'm going to share a screen right now as we do this. South Carolina, bang. Oh, okay, that's pretty good. Next, North Carolina. Why are we only getting the Carolinas?
Please
Bang.
lock in.
St. John's. That's New York.
New York.
Bang.
Where's New Jersey?
We're on fire. Colorado. I actually don't know what state Colorado
is. It's in Colorado. There's a state of Colorado.
Is that this one?
It's to the right of Phoenix.
Anyway, you get the picture. This game's really fun. They've got more games as well, like Guess the NBA Player, Mystery Fantasy Draft, and more. Stay tuned for all of the college football content and games that they'll be putting together to help you get the best experience out of college football 26. Back to the video.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't throw the Cannon in there, though, because, like, they won that recruitment. They won it. Like, he was on campus.
But then they lost it. That's the wild, most brutal turn.
Yeah, it was a brutal turn, but they won it initially. they won it up until they lost it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like everything along the way too has at least the last month or so, let's say, maybe 2 months, has kind of given you the vibes that something like this wasn't a sure thing. Like this recruitment could take some turns. So yeah, I don't know. I just I mean, like you said, Brian does great stuff. I like his reporting and everything like that. It's just using all those descriptive words about this recruitment just doesn't, it just doesn't align with me.
Yeah, like I think Purdue, the reality is Purdue is recruiting at such a high level right now that like the impact of this I don't think is even going to be felt.
I will say this though, devil's advocate, black and gold advocate here. Um, they do need a power forward for next
Yeah,
season.
sure.
They need one, and I think Trey Thompson would have been a fantastic power forward for them.
So actually, here's a spin though. Here's a point. Maybe it's one of the more shocking decisions that we've seen in recruiting for Purdue or other schools even. Just on the surface level of like this dude chose to reclassify to play at Iowa over coming to us at Purdue. You know what I mean? Like that's
Is
say
that
that out
shocking?
loud, that's a little shocking.
Is that shocking?
I don't think it's a good decision.
See, I don't know. I feel I think it's a great decision.
Okay.
Like I don't know. I'm not a long game guy though. You know that.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
so it's just like, yeah, I as much as I would love to play another year of high school basketball, why not go to somewhere where I can play right away, get paid, play with Bennett Sturts? Like, feel
Yeah.
like you put yourself in a good spot.
Again, McCollum has my full attention. I think it was a savage move from him, but yeah, I don't know. I really
It,
think like Painter is recruiting how I've been begging him to recruit forever. And I think like when you go after guys of this caliber and better, let's be clear, there are a lot of Purdue targets that are better than Trey Thompson right now.
mhm.
Sometimes twists happen in the recruitments, right?
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm not saying that, like I to your point about this, like probably I mean, if you're a big, like developing and playing for Purdue makes a lot of sense, right? And Trey Thompson, I think next to what could have been at Purdue is really something that I don't know a lot of people would turn down. They would be very intrigued to do so. But this isn't just Purdue fans, this is all fans. They just have the hardest time grasping, and I'm saying this for every fan in general, of people saying no to their school.
yeah,
Like it is not just out of this realm that someone would say no to Purdue and choose to reclass and play for Iowa. That's a very real, like, it just happened. It can happen to anybody. There's nothing really given in this. It drives me crazy on the same front, like me as a Michigan State fan. Like I can't believe people's fans are like, oh, I can't believe someone say no to Michigan State. Look at it, green and white. Like that shit doesn't resonate for everybody.
yeah.
Not everything is great about playing for people. Don't Some people don't like just feel just this nostalgic way about playing for Purdue. It is what it is.
But that also, to be clear, like it is totally acceptable and normal, and I'm fine with it to be like a fan and be upset that
Yeah,
it's on a
yeah,
recruit. Like that's
yeah.
if Purdue fans want to be upset that Trey Thompson chose a different school, absolutely, you should be upset about it. But like, I guess I feel like I saw that tweet and I was just like, they're gonna be fine, right? Like the to even like and honest bare bones, Carl, like quote tweeting the kid and like a reporter like dropping that type of terminology is just like clearly you felt slighted and like this kid did something wrong and it's I don't know, it just
Yeah,
felt a little off
how
to
do
me.
you feel about that? Like the whole quote tweeting thing.
It's not for me, but again, like I'm not trying to criticize Newberg because he's a phenomenal reporter. It
Yeah,
just the like again, I am confused why he would feel this slighted by this because
yeah,
I think Purdue's offered way better players than Trey Thompson, is going to land better players than Trey Thompson, and the impact of this decision is not going to be felt at all by Purdue basketball.
right. You think Trey Thompson found some joy in getting that quote tweet thrown his way?
I don't know. Probably not because I think his mentions were probably lit on fire by angry Purdue fans.
I feel like he thinks that's funny.
Do you? I mean, I said this on the last video with Trey Thompson. There's something off about him too. Like
I think he was liking those tweets.
he's a strange cat to me,
I
which
like him.
I think that's how you end up surprising everyone by changing your priorities and going to Iowa at the last second.
Strange cat, big cat. We locked in.
What? Just one more reminder: Trey Thompson is currently ranked 20 spots behind Luke Ertl in the 24/7 composite, and Luke Ertl's great, but like it's deep breaths, everybody. Like, you have better players in this class than Trey Thompson. You're going to have more players come into this class that are better than Trey Thompson. It's fine. Two more very quick questions or notes from me on this. Question one, if Purdue had the chance, obviously this is not how the timing worked out. I don't think Purdue thought there was any chance he would reclassify. I'm not saying Painter did anything wrong. But if Purdue had the chance, should they have taken Trey Thompson in this class and not taken Liam Murphy? Because it feels like when Liam
Yes.
Murphy took that spot, then Trey Thompson could not reclassify.
Yes, but also I think that's a also a hypothetical that would never have, given the time, like the timing would have never aligned like that.
It's revisionist to say, oh, you should have done this. And yeah, like I think Paint wanted Thompson in the next class anyway. He doesn't want to reclassify Trey Thompson. So yeah, that's where
Which,
I'm at.
I mean, yeah, true. Also, like he would have to convince him to reclass to come off the bench and
Be the 11th guy. Yeah. Where at
yeah,
Iowa,
like
he'll be the third guy. So
yeah, and like he's probably gonna put on a clinic in Iowa City.
yeah, right. I mean, let's just call it what it is. You choose to reclassify without anyone knowing you want to reclassify, and you end up at Iowa in year one of the Ben McCollum era. Your priorities are a little bit different than what a Purdue player's priorities should be in the Braden Smith era, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So I got to do one last hypothetical before we exit this video. A fun one, which what I might add. Uh, Trey Thompson wants to transfer to Purdue next season after 1 year in Iowa. Does Payne take him?
no, that's not how Payne operates. No,
Should he?
no. I am not into anything Trey Thompson though. Like
Okay.
I'm not a believer in his game. I think this is being wildly overblown for like a very average low 4 star.
Understood.
I just don't see it. I don't think they're gonna feel the impact at all. I would like to just tell you quickly. I did go back and read that tweet in the voice of Kristen Peak, and it made me laugh really hard.
What's wrong with you,
Well,
man?
like you know how she hit the like this is the most shockingest draft pick in my entire life about Zach Edey. So I constantly just hear her voice on replay in my ears. And if you read the wildest, most brutal recruiting turn Purdue has been on the wrong end of in 20 years, in the Kristen Peak voice, it hits so hard.
You're a wild boy.
Honestly, does she do cameo?
Probably, yeah.
I might book a cameo from Kristen Peak and ask her to read this tweet about Trey Thompson.
You're a sicko.